Hi, Greg Jarrett in for Shepard Smith. This is Studio B. Murder charges today against an athlete who made history. Oscar Pistorius became the first double amputee to compete in Olympic track events at last year's Games in London. Fans nicknamed him Blade Runner for his artificial lower legs. Well, today, police arrested him after his 30-year-old girlfriend turned up dead. 4 gunshot wounds inside his home in South Africa. She was a model, an entrepreneur, a law school graduate, according to her publicist. And for 2 years in a row, the magazine FHM listed her as one of the 100 sexiest women in the world. She was known just by her first name, Riva. Local media had initially reported this may have been a case of mistaken identity, that the athlete, who is said to enjoy target shooting with his pistol, had mistaken his girlfriend for a burglar. But police say they don't know the source of those reports. And they also say there had been previous allegations of domestic incidents at the runner's home, and that neighbors said they heard noises before the shooting. Trace Gallagher is live in our West Coast newsroom. Trace, Oscar Pistorius made it clear he was a fan of guns, right?
Yeah, Greg. In fact, he's even taken some journalists to a local shooting range and even bragged about the fact that he's a pretty good shot. Pistorius acknowledges that he's got a handgun by his bed, a machine gun underneath the window, and he apparently also has a very real fear for his safety. Recently, when his house alarm went off at night, he grabbed a gun, went downstairs. There was no intruder. But he one time also tweeted the following: "Nothing like getting home to hear the washing machine on and thinking it's an intruder, to go into full combat recon mode into the pantry." Wow. Even though South Africa's crime rate is high, journalists point out Pistorius lives in a virtual fortress. Listen.
One of the most secure ones are these estates in which there's probably about 40 or 50 homes. In electric fencing and high walls surrounding it, with a security boom and 24-hour security guarding the place. And Oscar Pistorius' home is situated in one of those complexes.
We should know that only Pistorius and his girlfriend were in the home at the time of the shooting, Greg.
What's next for Pistorius, Trace?
Well, he's still in custody, and police say he appears very distraught. His lawyer says that he is very emotional right now, but that he's a strong man. His hearing is now set for tomorrow, but South Africa has an automatic 48-hour hold on suspects, and prosecutors are making it very clear they have no part in this story about the shooting being a case of mistaken identity, and apparently they don't believe that story either, Greg, because we are told that prosecutors at the hearing will fight to get him, to make sure that he's not freed on bail. As to why, that's unclear, but we should find out a lot more during the hearing set for sometime tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Trace Gallagher in L.A. Trace, thanks very much. Joining us now, the new chair of the International Bar Association's Criminal Law Committee, Meg Strickler. Meg, good to see you. Police took him into custody immediately. Prosecutors want no bail. What does that tell you?
Those are 2 very compelling points that show immediately that there's some strong evidence here that none of us know about yet, that shows that there's enough that kind of leads to this person being the one that made this happen. We have 4 shots. What also hurts is, yes, there's guns and maybe it was an intruder, but why were there 4 gunshot wounds? Okay, that's what makes it look bad, that and the immediate arrest. And now the prosecutor is saying we're going to oppose bond? That sounds like there is a first-degree murder going on here.
Yeah. Neighbors allegedly heard screams before shots were fired, and there's apparently a history of domestic-related calls to the home. Police had to show up. Normally, that would not be admissible in a U.S. court of law unless you can show a pattern of conduct that's relevant to the shooting, right?
Yes, I practice in 3 states in the States, and it's called similar transactions. That's the term of art. And what that is, just a similar pattern of conduct, just like you said. Prior domestic incidents where there was anger involved and maybe alcohol involved, and then now we're hearing about yelling here and alcohol perhaps involved here. Both of them equal similar conduct. Right. It very well may come in South Africa also.
And the forensics of this is important. If the distance was close, and you can determine that from residue and stippling on the body of the victim, that's not good for Pistorius if he was close to her, right?
That's absolutely correct. And that's when we have a trial. If this were to go to trial, you're going to have a battle of forensic experts. And it's fascinating to see what they are able to get. And by the fact that he went into custody this early on, they have gotten his fingerprints, they've gotten his underneath his fingernails of both the victim and him. And all of that will be analyzed a lot.
Yeah. Now, look, there's word that he mistook Riva for an intruder. In the United States, under those circumstances, you could possibly argue what's called imperfect self-defense, an honest but mistaken belief that your life is in imminent danger. I wonder if that would be admissible and usable in that country.
It is. It is. Now, understand, South Africa has a large amount of high crime. A lot of people have legal gun ownership in South Africa. And like the United States, you can use the gun if you think an intruder's coming in and your life is threatened. So it's a self-defense. It's called an affirmative defense.
Even if you're mistaken about the intruder.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. But I think what hurts here is we have 4 shots. Now, understand, if you're scared about an intruder being in, you might shoot once and then bolt. 4 shots is what hurts here.
What is that?
4 shots connecting.
Is that heat of passion?
That would make it down to 2nd degree if it is heat of passion. In other words, they're angry, they're fighting, and he's so upset and angry. There's no intent for murder that would lower it down. Same type of laws that we have here.
All right. Meg Strickler, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.